Thank you so much, DJ Jax, for the 100 bits.
This is for Jagger. I really appreciate it.
Look at that.
Wow,
Great guy.
thank you.
And we have mulligans indicate here, so Jack is showing us he did in fact keep 7, and Edgar going down to 5, unfortunately. I think the mulligan's kind of huge here, to be honest. In a mid-range versus mid-range matchup, you just need your threats to stick. You need your creatures to be better, and you don't want your opponent to draw the removal while you do draw your removal. So Edgar on 5 here is a little awkward, unfortunately.
Well,
but
it looks like Jack kept his 7.
7, yeah.
And he's on the draw? Or is he on the draw?
Not quite sure. We didn't see whether they determined play draw.
Okay. We'll retract the statement until we, so we know. That would be unfortunate though for Edgar though. He's down 2 from the mulligan, and then if he's on the play.
And yeah, it does look like Edgar was in fact on the play here. Thoughtseize, even better. Oh my god, just Edgar's already like tiny hand just being ripped apart even further.
2 lands, a Fable, and a Shieldred.
Yeah. Looks like we're gonna be taking the Fable, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good pick here, because the Fable not only helps him with the token, the board presence, it helps him ditch some of those lands for other draws.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing about Fable is just like it's a 3 mana, like at least 2 for 1. Like you're making a 2/2 that then makes another 2/2.
Yeah.
And like in the mid-range matchup, you know, getting rid of those 2/2s isn't necessarily easy. You have to 1 for 1 them, and that doesn't feel great. So I think like Jack just Thoughtseize, get rid of your only real threat in that hand at the moment, go, is pretty strong. Because now Edgar, and just rips another Thoughtseize, getting the Shieldred out of his hand. I definitely think Edgar's in a losing spot right here right now. Yeah. Now all Jack really needs is to stick a relevant threat, and I think Edgar's in big trouble. We do see another land drop in Jack's hand there for a second. And there it is. And 2 mana. There it is. And that is the... We're going to take a quick peek at the list so I know for sure. That's the Gifted Aetherborn. Gosh. I'm sitting here going like, is this Aetherborn Rogue? Aetherborn something? No. Gifted Aetherborn.
Now that's the Death Touch Lifelinker?
2/3 Death Touch Lifelinker, yes.
Wow.
And it looks like Edgar just went land go. Jack making it 18 all. And it looks like, yeah, there's land drop number 4 for Jack. Are we going to see a Shouldred drop potentially?
Maybe.
Yeah, and that is just their Shouldred. The apocalypse has come.
If Edgar doesn't have a response, it's looking
pretty grim.
Yeah, it's looking very grim for him.
Shouldred, of course, known as a very big game winner. And there's Thoughtseize on Edgar's side.
Sorin and a land.
Wow. I mean, I think Jack's just in a ridiculous spot here. Yeah, and Edgar goes, well, we're going to pick these up and go to the next one.
That was a very unfortunate series of events for Edgar. Starting off with the mulligan to 5, double Thoughtseize.
Yeah. I mean, like, what do you take there? Oh, let me take your Sorin. Okay, I'm going to invoke Despair.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you lose 6 life. I'm going to draw 3 cards, gain 6 life. Like, not worth it. Oh, I'll take your Invoke Despair. Okay, I'm going to Sorin, draw this card, like, not lose as much life because Shouldred's around. Like, the card advantage is just so far strong on Jack's side at that point that there's not much Edgar can do. All right, let's take a quick look at the boards. I'm going to talk real quick about the mono-black mid-range board. So we have 1 Pithing Needle, 1 Path of Peril, 1 Misery Shadow, 1 Kalitas, 1 Sky Sovereign, 1 Duress, 2 Ray of Enfeeblement, 3 Extinction Event, and 4 Leyline of the Void.
That's a lot of voids.
It really is. Relevant cards in this matchup. So, honestly, like, Needle, not really great. Maybe you name, like, a mana land at best, but that feels very, very weak.
Right.
Path of Peril, not for this matchup whatsoever, so we skip that. Misery Shadow is definitely a card I think should come in. And the big reason why is because of the fact that it is just another really great mid-range threat. And granted, Jack's already playing 2 in the main, but I think moving up to a 3 after the side will make the deck a lot better, give you more threats to play around with. Same thing with Kalitas, might as well just jam 1 more in there and make it so that you have more threats available. The Sky Sovereign will be interesting to see. I think Sky Sovereign answers a lot of Edgar's early threats pretty easily, but once you see a Kalitas maybe of Edgar's or Shouldred, there's not much that Sky Sovereign does. And I think that's about it in Jack's sideboard. I don't think Duress is coming in. No, I like same with Raven Feeblement, Extinction Event. Like I think they're playing on about the same curve. It's not really worth it, and obviously Leyline of Void isn't doing much.
Right.
What do you think about Edgar's sideboard?
Over to Edgar's. Now, we have seen his sideboard in deck before, but it's a different matchup this time. He's got the 2 Extinction Events, a Rending Volley, a Bank Buster, 2 Pithing Needles, 3 Duress, 2 Misery Shadows, 1 Hitotsugu Consumes All, 2 Ritual of Soot, and then 1 Leyline of the Void. Coming in, honestly, we'll probably see a Bank Buster just because it's never a bad card. In all honesty, it gives you a draw, and then you can have a beater later with your pilots. And I agree with what Eric was saying with Jack's deck. I think Misery Shadow also comes in this. It's just an all around great card. It's a 2 mana 2/2
Yep.
that you can pump temporarily, and it has the exile if a creature would die instead.
Yeah.
Otherwise, depending on how many 1-drops Edgar's running, if Jack's running, the Hitotsugu Consumes All may come in. That is if Edgar knows or roughly knows how many 1-drops there are. I don't believe there is many, so it may not come in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not sure if he needs to bring in a lot.
So, like, the big thing to me is I think Hitotsugu only comes in when, like, you need another threat, right?
Right.
The interesting thing, and this is something that I'd love to see from Edgar, is honestly bring in the Duress. And the reason why is because while Jack bringing in Duress against Edgar feels bad because just like you're just getting rid of Kill Spell, what does that matter? Edgar bringing in Duress against Jack has some very relevant hits. We saw Sorin. That's a pretty big one. You want to get rid of the Planeswalker for 1 mana, phenomenal. The Invoke Despair is huge, right? Like, if Jack manages to slam an Invoke Despair while Edgar has, let's say, like, a Fable in play and another creature, that's such a huge swing. And I love the Duress to just rip that out of his hand. We will see whether that has actually come in or not as we are getting into our game 2. And it looks like both players on 7. I imagine Edgar is taking the play. Resolving mulligans as we speak. And Jack currently talking to one of his partners, asking for a quick opinion about the hand. Like I think the main hands that like you're looking for in mono black midrange here is like you want to turn 1 hand effect. And same in Rakdos.
Yeah.
So we both kept 7, and it looks like
You're gonna Invoke Despair, Shield Drift, Sky Sovereign, and a Trespass, and 3 lands.
I believe so. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I would have to agree. I'm more of a mono black
Favorite, yeah.
favorite as well. Just it's just the deck is so concentrated on like just threats and removal, and like it seems like a really strong, well put together deck.
Yeah, I will agree, Miss Exile. Like I think like the big upside of mono black midrange is that like it just has the better matchup against red black. Jack picking up the hand there before Edgar's made a choice. A little funny.
Yeah.
Mana is more consistent. Agreed. Like their options
especially when
are
the new
so
set
good.
comes out, like Eric was mentioning.
Yeah.
That obliterator is gonna obliterate the deck, and it's just gonna become that much better.
It's crazy. So I think Edgar still
What would you
making his
take,
choice. So like honestly, I think invoked. Yeah, I was just about to say Invoke Despair, and Edgar goes, yeah, we're gonna get rid of that Invoke Despair. I think like you have clean answers to the rest of those cards. Invoke Despair, like, what are you gonna do? Like you get invoked, and then you kind of feel bad.
I have a bit of a different opinion.
Okay.
It really revolves around what else is in Edgar's hand. If he has another sort of interruption before he gets to 5 mana, I'm not convinced that the Invoke Despair was the choice, because it's a 4 black.
1/4 black.
It's a lot of mana.
Yeah.
And it's sure if he doesn't have another way to remove it or out of his hand, yeah, that's fine. But it's really dependent on what he had in his hand.
Very fair. All right, and we see on Edgar's side, he has the turn 3 Fable, wonderful. On Jack's side, here's my turn 3 Trespasser. Let's get rid of your Thoughtseize. It is day currently, and hopefully the players find some way to represent that, because that would be useful. So I imagine we're just keeping track of that independently, maybe on a piece of paper or something. We'll see. Edgar currently in his, after his draw step, decides to discard 1 land to draw a new one with the Fable. And that is a... Yeah, that's a Ridge. Oh, I thought that was a Blood Crypt for a second, but I remembered, like, the stamp means that would only have been able to be from guilds. Right. There's the Duress, okay.
So now the question is, did he draw that or did he have that?
I imagine Edgar probably had that in hand.
Two more invokes.
Yeah, that's another Invoke Despair in hand, or two. Yeah, two more invokes in hand.
Shieldred, Sky
Wow.
Sovereign.
Well, I mean, I think we know what the. I mean, I don't imagine Edgar goes, well, we'll just take your Sky Sovereign and let you double invoke me, right?
So again, I think, I may be wrong, but I think the correct play here is to get rid of that Shieldred if that's a legal target.
Well, that is unfortunately not a legal target for Duress, of course.
That
Non-creature, non-lands. Yeah, there's another invoke gone.
Now he just untap, play land, jam a Shieldred.
Yeah, that's true. You see Jack draw. I mean, the big thing is Edgar probably, well, hopefully, has removal for that Shieldred. We know that Edgar plays 4 Power Word Kill in his main, and alongside that, I guess that's actually the main thing that can kill Shieldred in Edgar's deck. Oh, if Duress better Thoughtseize, you don't lose life, you can hit any non-land, would be definitely insane.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, so we're looking at Jack currently choosing to make a choice. Swings in with the Graveyard Trespasser on attack, gets rid of the Duress. Edgar says, yeah, I'll just take 3. Jack keeping us updated. And
the Shieldred?
There's our Apocalypse. Yep. And there's Power Word Kill from Edgar. Yeah.
Okay.
The clean answer to get rid of the big threat from Dom Yu. Alright, so there's Fable is flipped. Edgar getting in for 2. Now the question is, does Edgar have another hand hate piece for the last?
Another Fable.
Oh, another Fable. You know what? That's pretty good.
If he couldn't get another answer, he might be able to now.
Yeah. I mean, Invoke Despair is great and all, but like if Edgar just has enough threats on the board, it doesn't matter. And there's Edgar grabbing a day token for us. Thank you so much.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Invoke Despair, the 3 targets or like ideal things to get rid of was a creature, an enchantment, and a walker. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's creature, enchantment, walker.
Can Edgar choose to get his Kiki as both an enchantment and a creature?
No, so they are 3 separate targets that you have to choose here.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we do see Jack actually just decide, you know what, I don't really want to invoke right now. We're going to play the Sky Sovereign, get rid of your flipped Fable. And 100% correct. Like,
right.
if you've ever seen a reflection of Kiki Jiki on the board that sticks around, it runs away with the game. Making copies of Blood Tithe Harvesters, making copies of Bone Crusher Giants, it just gives you so much endless value that Jack recognizes, you know what, I have to get rid of this card to be able to win this game.
Who would have thought that a Kiki, even by paying 1, still strong?
Still a great card.
Yeah. So Fable's going to 2. He's going to discard, is that 1 or 2 lands?
That's 2 lands.
He's drawing 2 cards.
I think I saw a Shieldred.
Yeah. Other one may have been a land.
Well, let's see what Edgar decides to deploy here. Here's his tokens on, and I think there's our Shieldred. Yeah.
All right. This is the best part of playing black in Standard and Pioneer right now. Whoever plays Shieldred and it stays on the battlefield long enough usually takes the game.
Yeah.
Now we got to see if Jack has an answer to Edgar's Shieldred.
It looks like we do, funny enough, have a missed trigger here from Edgar.
We do. Unfortunately,
missed the Shieldred draw trigger. Yeah. Obviously, Shieldred and our good old draw triggers being the infamous "is the stack empty?" question, as I'm sure many a people have heard before.
Yeah. So they may be discussing it now.
Yeah, I believe the players are talking about it right now. Okay, it looks like Jack recognizing, oh yeah, there was a trigger there. Sorry, I'll take 2.
Now, did he have to do that?
So not necessarily. If they really want to, they can make an argument that, you know what, you've missed the trigger, I've played this land drop for turn, da da da. But again, like, the camaraderie in Southwestern Ontario is here, and you know, Jack recognizes, hey, whoops, like, you were probably looking at another match for a second. I'll just take my 2 and we'll go from there.
Yeah. See, this is the great thing about the Southwestern Ontario players is, you know, even if it's like that could have changed the game. We don't know yet, but. Hey, like Eric was saying, he could have been busy helping one of his other teammates on the other side. He is just going to take the 2.
Yeah. Sense of community is always a really, really great thing, which we love to see. And it looks like Jack Cruise Sky Sovereign. There's the power word kill to get rid of it as well.
Wow. Oh, there's the Invoke Despair.
There's our Invoke.
So there's the creature, enchantment, and I believe you just lose 2 life.
He loses 2 life, and Jack will draw a card.
Draw it.
Unfortunately, Jack will also lose 2 off of the shoulder draw, preemptively taking himself down.
So is Edgar out of cards now?
I think Edgar is empty-handed. Yeah.
That's unfortunate. He is just top decking. Although top decking with the shield it's not the worst, because at least you're gaining some momentum.
There's our Reckoner Bankbuster and draws a card. Yeah. Just like we predicted, you know, the Bankbuster comes in really great in these mid-range matchups, obviously. Edgar goes, alright, let's move to combat. I'm going to hit you for 6. Passes the turn. Jack gonna untap, upkeep, and draw. And once that happens, Shoulder will tick him down for 2.
Hive Tyrant.
Hive, not a great. Yeah, it's Hive Tyrant or Hive
that a second
Trespasser. You mean our 4th invoke of the game?
Correct.
I'd be surprised, but it's very possible. So we see Graveyard Trespasser come out. Are there any creatures in Edgar's bin at this point?
He had to exile his own.
I
just
think
to get the life. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
I think all he's got is like sagas and power word kills.
Sagas, power word kills, yeah. So we see Edgar go to 18. Definitely like an uphill battle for Jack here. I don't think this is his game at the very moment, but we can always see a quick twist of events.
I agree. I think this is going to be game 3.
Definitely agreed. Like the game 3 is most likely going to happen here. Let's see what Edgar plays. Oh yeah, like Miss Axel, like whenever you have the mid-rangers and mid-range, it's very often like, hey, we're gonna see a game 3 happening, right? Because it's I deploy my threat, you answer, you deploy your threat, we answer, and then the 50-50 of who sticks around to determine who wins that game.
Yeah, because we saw Jack with the early Shieldred.
Quickly answered. Yeah.
Quickly answered before he even got to get a single life gain or drain from his opponent there. But now Edgar's has been on the board for a few turns. Edgar's just in the tank here, thinking if he's got to play anything, or if he's just gonna play it safe and pass.
So I think taking a quick look at Jack's list,
for the draw.
It appears, the clean answers, quote unquote, are Murderous Rider and Power Word Kill at 5 total copies, of course, in the deck.
Interesting.
2 Power Word Kills and 3 Murderous Riders. There's a Trespasser of Edgar's.
I believe there's still no creatures.
Still no creatures. So Edgar just goes, alright, we'll get rid of your Sky Sovereign in case you have some wacky reanimation effect. On end step, it looks like Jack said, I'm going to get rid of your Hive. Both players getting a Swamp. So it does look like Edgar just passed the turn without a swing. Makes sense. Obviously, you don't want to...
You don't have to overcommit here.
Yeah.
Right?
No reason to trade your Shouldred for two Trespassers, right? Alrighty. Jack drawing down to 5.
I see what that was?
I want to say I saw cut down for a second, but I don't see that registered in the list. Probably not cut down. May have just been my eyes deceiving me. Too much standard as of late.
Yeah, I mean, you were mentioning the mono black standard.
Yeah.
So either you've been playing it too much or seeing it too much or both.
Yeah. So Jack, thinking about animating here.
We got one land.
Let's go one more swamp.
Card. Oh, it looks like he's just going to pass.
Pass turn. Our Trespassers are going to be 4/4 Gluttons. I honestly, I love that name, okay? It's really funny because, like, Graveyard Trespasser, I sit here and I'm like, yeah, okay. The flip side being Graveyard Glutton. Like, it really makes it sound like, hey, this werewolf is out here, like, digging for bones and he loves the graves.
Oh, you gotta love it. They put some thought into that one.
Yeah. I mean, it also makes sense because, like, going from exiling 1 card to exiling 2 cards, gaining more life, draining more. Like, really a glutton for punishment.
Is that another Bank Buster?
That is another Bank Buster.
He does have
3 in the main.
And then 1 in the side. So maybe he didn't even need to bring in the 1 in the side.
And yeah, Jack, recognizing the writing on the wall, picks up the cards, says, okay, your second Bank Buster's definitely got me.
We are going to game 3.
So, impressive showing of both decks. Obviously, you know, we see a lot of these similar threats of Shouldred and Dot Seizes, a lot of these cards that are very like gameplay and deck defining, arguably, right? Just the biggest difference is out of Edgar's Rakdos midrange deck, we see some of these insanely high value cards in red, right? For example, like I would argue that Fable just carried the game right there, right?
He had 2 Fables, made him a couple tokens. He got from the tokens, he got the treasures, managed to ditch some lands and redrew some cards. Like that's really good. That might have been the deciding factor.
Like that's just a high value, right? Like we saw by the end of that game, I think Jack was on 8 or 9 lands. Imagine if he could have turned those into like actual playable Magic cards,
right? And
with
see, that's the downside with only going to one color and not playing the 2. But it has the one color also has its upsides.
Yeah, like the consistency is there, which is nice for Jack. But on the flip side, Edgar has these other options.
Correct,
aside from just
adding a whole other color.
Yeah. Aside from these mono black threats, he also has these other choices. It's funny to me because although we call it red black midrange, realistically it's just mainly a core of black cards with a few red cards splashed in here and there.
Like could we name just a few of them? Like I think Bloodtithe Harvester is one.
Bloodtithe Harvester, Bone Crusher Giant, Fable, and I believe
one of Croxa.
One of a Braid, I suppose.
So
and then
not a lot of red cards.
Even the sideboard is mainly like we have Hitotsugu and Rending Volley as the red cards.
Yeah, it really does seem more of like a black deck splashing.
Yeah. Well, again, when we see so much of the core pieces shared between Rakdos midrange and mono black midrange, it definitely creates a parallel. All right, and it looks like both players have drawn their opening 7s. Yeah, we're seeing mulligans here.
Red offers a lot of great utility cards.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
With the option of like a Braid to like remove multiple types of threats.
Yeah.
And then obviously, as we saw, like just Fable running some games. We did keep our 7s.
They're both gonna play tap lands.
Yeah. Jack opens on our good old Castle Lochthwain, one of the main like draw sources in the mono black midrange deck.
We're just gonna pass. So we don't have any turn 1 or
turn 1 or turn 2 hand it. Yeah.
He could have had power word kill but
holding off on it. Yeah.
There's a Bank Buster.
There's our Bank Buster.
That is a great early play.
Gosh, Reckoner Bank Buster's such a great mid-range card. Just so much value.
Hey, there's your favorite card.
Hey, Gifted Aetherborn.
Yeah.
It's a 2 mana 2/3 with text. That's insane.
This is true.
Well, in my day, that was nuts.
We see the Trespasser on Edgar's side. It becomes day.
There it is. And now it is daytime.
Unfortunately, Edgar does not have anything to exile, but not too bad. I do see an Extinction event on Jack's side.
Really, then?
I believe I did see an Extinction event.
Interesting. I don't know that I love that, to be honest.
Well, actually, Trespasser is an odd CMC, and Shieldred's an even.
That's fair. But like Edgar plays, like Jack and Edgar play those same cards, right? I feel like this is an interesting.
I also see a Kalitas.
The Kalitas makes sense. Okay, well
he's going for the Extinction event.
You know what? I'm gonna Extinction and get rid of
just get rid of the Trespasser.
Yeah.
Because that way, at least he gets to keep a threat.
I imagine Edgar might just crew in response.
That is very valid.
It looks like no crew.
No crew.
Aetherborn gets in. Fair.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, I think like realistically, even if Edgar crewed, I don't imagine he'd take the block there.
Right.
Because trading your Bank Buster, which will give you card advantage to some 2/3, is not your best choice.
For sure.
All right. Do we see? There's land drop number 4.
Do we have a Shieldred?
Very much could be.
Because if he does, maybe that Extinction event might have pulled the trigger a bit
too early.
A little
preemptive, yeah. Yep.
But on the other side, if he did choose even, he would lose his own creature, and now Edgar gets to have the upper hand.
Just waiting and seeing. So, Jake, have you played Standard at all recently?
I have. I'm really in love with the mono black deck recently.
Checks out, yeah.
It's insane how the deck just like it kind of feels like it does it all, you know. It has the threats, it has the removal, it has ways to get back, and it's just it's really crazy that just it does everything.
Yeah.
Especially with like you were saying with there's a new edict coming out as well with the Obliterator.
Yep.
I feel like it's just gonna be great. So we got Edgar over here playing a Bloodtithe Harvester and passing.
Black is the best color.
Black is the best. Yes, I do agree.
Well, not red. You're a bird player. Come on.
Well, remember how I said I was a retired commander player?
Of course.
Back in my commander days, I used to play a lot of black, whether it was mono black or black splashing a color,
Mm.
you know. But no, black is 100% my favorite color. It just, it's burn's also fun.
That's fair.
It never gets boring. Just bolt face.
There's also red blackburn.
Yeah, but it's not as good. It's just
Not the best, yeah.
Boros burn. Yeah.
All right, so
Is that another?
Yeah, we saw on Jack's side deciding to just answer the Blood Tithe Harvester with a push, gets in for 2, and decides, hey, my gifted Aetherborn has a little friend right here.
And who is that friend?
Another gifted Aetherborn.
That's a good friend.
Best buddies for life. And now Edgar seems to be thinking, deciding between, maybe he has a removal spell
Maybe
in hand.
cycling a card with the blood token.
Maybe wants to cycle blood token. Maybe just draws off a Reckoner Bankbuster,
This
right?
is true. Yep.
I just heard a really great sentence from one of the players. It's just, I'm just gonna cast the highest CMC card in my hand next turn, no matter what. And I'm like, yeah, that seems like mid range to me, right?
Yeah.
You just curve out.
Yeah. Threat on 1, threat on 2, threat on 3.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
All right, it does seem like Edgar decided, you know what? Bankbuster's here. Might as well draw the card. And here's Edgar Mountain.
4 mana.
That's
What do we see?
Children.
Apocalypse.
There you go.
Does Jack have an answer now?
Jack untap.
Although Jack can just swing in for 4 damage every turn,
Yep.
and Edgar might not want to trade.
Jack mentions, in my upkeep, I'm going to activate my Field of Ruin, targeting.
Probably the open mana he has.
I mean, we'll be able to float,
unless
right?
Field of Ruin comes in untapped.
It does come in untapped.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like Field of Ruin's still on the stack. Or no, just a bit of a shortcut here. So we see Field of Ruin is being popped, and then Jack's saying, and then once this is done, I'm going to Fatal Push. Or I guess while it's still on the stack, I'm going to Fatal Push your Shouldered.
Right, because he did sacrifice the land,
Yeah.
so...
Revolt is online.
That's a way to answer Shieldred.
I mean, hey, like,
It does.
push does it, right?
Yeah.
Push is, like, awkward sometimes, but, like, other
Right.
times it's just not clunky, right?
It's kind of funny, actually, that Mono Black can pull it off, because normally you don't have, like, these, like, sacrifice stuff, because, Rakdos at least has the Blood Tithe. And,
Yeah.
Right, the blood
Well,
tokens.
I think the really funny thing to me is just that, what's it called? With Mono Black Midrange, the upside of playing this deck is you get access to Field of Ruin.
This is true.
Field of Ruin in Pioneer, I think, is a much stronger card than some people value it to be.
I think it is undervalued.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do think it's because we're looking at the Mono Black deck right now, and like that Castle Lockthwain, he does have 2, granted, but if the game goes on to later rounds and he's not drawing anything, he can just pay some life, pay some mana, draw an extra card.
Yeah. I think there's so many utility lands in the Pioneer format that it just makes it so difficult. Well, not so difficult. It just gives Field of Ruin so much more value than you'd expect.
Right.
And because there's so many 2 and 3 color decks running around, they just can't afford the colorless slots
Right.
to be given Field of Ruin. So currently the legacy matchup, Miss Exil, is actually Delver versus Delver.
I believe it is another Delver.
Delver Mirror, yeah. One of them is just stock Delver, and the other, what's it called?
I think it's Grixis.
Yeah,
They have it named
Grixis Tempo, which
Yep.
it looks like Delver with a splash of Snuff Out.
Right. I think that's basically the extent of that one.
Yeah. Black Castle Vantress the Life Trade. Yeah, that's our good friend Lockthwain. Vantress is also so good, but like unfortunately the only deck that really plays it too much is Control, right?
Yeah. Which we're not seeing too much of recently.
I love scrying cards though.
Yeah, that sounds. It's That I don't know why we didn't put that on the feature match.
The Delver Mirror?
Yeah,
I think we'll see it probably in top 4,
and then top 2, and then
potentially, yeah.
probably,
All right, so we see over
Kalidas.
on Edgar's side deploys a second Reckoner Bankbuster, and then on Jack's side plays a Kalidas, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good threat.
We had a power word kill go down, getting rid of an
One of them,
Aetherborn.
Yeah.
And now Edgar in his turn going, okay, well, I need to get some value, I need to get something going. We're going to draw with this Bankbuster again, make our pilot, make a treasure.
Yeah. And now he can crew much easier if needed.
Yeah, and there's a Lockthwain of Edgar's.
Yeah. It looked like he had a duress in hand, I think.
I think
Might
so.
be a little late.
I think that's what
but-
we're seeing.
Oh, there it is.
We see Sky Sovereign
Sky
and another
Sovereign
gifted
and another,
Aetherborn.
yeah. It's pretty easy there.
Jack just shortcutting, like, hey, here's your only option. We're just going to put this right in the bin.
Yeah.
Looks like players asking about life totals real quick. It looks like everything should be fine.
Is that a third?
Our third Reckoner Bankbuster. Why not?
You know what? You can never have too many cars and pilots.
Yeah, just keep going with it. Alright, so we see, I believe, is Aetherborn considered a zombie? This is very relevant because Kalidas is on the board, right?
Kalidas is on the board. Maybe like a zombie vampire? I'm not sure.
Might be an Aetherborn vampire. They might have given Aetherborns their own card type. Let's take a quick peek. I'm pretty sure it's definitely a vampire. I'm just wondering. Okay, it is an Aetherborn vampire. They do have their own creature type.
Nice.
So a little unfortunate, since if that were a zombie, Jack could just go, all right, I'm going to swing with both my creatures, and then whichever one is blocked by Reckoner Bankbuster gets killed.
We do see, believe it's a Murderous Rider in Jack's hand.
Yeah. So Jack says, all right, I'm going to swing out. Edgar says, I will crew. And Jack, before blocks, I think Jack's gonna fire off the Murderous Rider here.
It does get exiled, right? Because of the Cletus?
The Bankbuster will be exiled, yeah, okay. And then Jack will have the chance to. Okay, so it looks like Jack held off until block phase. I think that's a pretty interesting choice. So the upside of this is that if for whatever reason Edgar decides to block the Aetherborn, then Jack doesn't actually have to use his Murderous Rider.
This is right, yeah.
The downside, of course, being that now Jack doesn't get in for as much damage.
Right.
And we see Edgar goes, okay, I'm going to just power word kill your Kalidas in response to you riding down my Bankbuster.
Right. And there's the other.
There's the next one.
Is that the third one now?
I think that's the third one now. So it looks like Jack is empty-handed. Edgar also top-decking a bit. I think that was I want to say, Urborg in hand. The difference is, like, Edgar just has all this card draw in play in the form of, like, the Reckoner Bankbuster that's still around.
He's not missing draws, I can tell you that.
No, definitely not. Looks
like
Edgar.
Tapping 3.
There's a Bone Crusher. Hard cast.
You can't stomp, or I guess I go under the stomp phase, but no real reason.
Edgar says go ahead. I mean, at 30 life, I think Edgar's definitely playing the long game, right?
Yeah, for sure. Probably looking to trade his Giant over here with one of the Aetherborns. He's going to crew.
Jack swings in. Okay. Edgar says, all right, I'm going to block both your cards.
Trade.
Interesting. So Jack goes up to 34.
Oh,
there's Apocalypse right there. Shoulder has come down.
Is he empty-handed again?
Edgar pays 3 in response and decides, okay, I'm going to draw with this Lockthorn while I still can.
Yeah.
Untap, upkeep, and takes 2 from our Shouldred.
This is gonna be close because now if he doesn't have an answer in his hand, he's gonna have to draw one, and if he draws one, he's gonna take another 2.
Yeah. Definitely think that the Shouldred is a bit of a game winner. Like Shouldred just always demands the answer, right?
Yeah,
and if you don't have it, then
if you don't have it, Shouldred just takes the game. He's gonna draw. He's gonna risk it. He's gonna take 2 more.
You gotta find the answer, right? Edgar plays a tapped Den.
Yep.
Passes the turn. Okay.
It's not looking good.
Not at all. So Jack draws a card, gains 2 life. So this is where it gets to see, like, one of my favorite interactions with Shouldred. Well, Jack first attacking, blocks the pilot. So if you've noticed with Shouldred, if Jack were to activate Castle Lockthwain here, he loses 2 life, but he also just gains 2 life because Shouldred's on the board, which effectively means that Castle Lockthwain is pay 3 mana, draw card. Like, that's pretty good. On a land.
That's pretty good.
It's definitely pretty good. So Edgar untaps. Edgar obviously not necessarily dead right away because he does have the Den that he can animate to try and block off the Shouldred. The big problem here, obviously, that if Jack just passes the turn, Edgar does not have an answer, he dies to the Shouldred trigger.
Right.
So we'll have to see what Edgar does.
Doesn't look like he... Does he have something?
I don't think so. Well, there's a Graveyard Trespasser.
Oh, okay, he can gain 2 life.
Or our good old Graveyard Glutton.
He can gain 2 life, so he survives another turn.
And Jack showing the creatures.
Probably a Kalidas and a...
And Edgar decides we're going to take Kalidas and Aetherborn. So important thing here that Edgar kept track of there, they did become night since no spells were cast, which means that this Graveyard Glutton is a lot better than if it had been our good old Graveyard Trespasser.
Right.
I can't quite see Edgar's hand, but I believed it did not look incredible, unfortunately.
It was a bit tough to see here.
I think I saw a land in there. Definitely not what you want to be seeing at this stage of the game, but
Right. Bit of a glare, so we can't necessarily make the card out.
Yeah.
Probably a land.
It looks like Edgar's counting and deciding to make a land drop here. Yeah, there's another hive. Passes the turn. It's Jack on end step. Gonna do the shoulder trick. I'll draw a card. Lose 2 life, gain 2 life, stay at 34.
Is that a second shield trick he drew?
Was it? It might have been.
It might have been.
I saw land drop, which is very, very good for Jack.
I think Edgar just dies.
I don't think Edgar's not in a great spot here.
Animate the land there.
Yeah, I think Edgar's gonna go for the double block here.
Yeah.
Animate our den.
He might just go for a single block. So if he goes to combat, he can. Oh yeah, he's going to crew instead. Yeah.
So okay, very interesting decision here. So Edgar goes, I'm going to crew my Bankbuster. I'm going to animate my den. I'm going to double block. And now Edgar's thinking about it. Edgar has the option here of actually drawing off of the Bankbuster with the mana from Den and from his Blood Crypt. The downside is he has to do that before Shoulder's off the board. So if Edgar decides, you know what, yeah, we're going to draw one more card, Edgar is down to 2. And if that is a Shoulder in Jack's hand that we saw, then we know Edgar's most probably just dead. Unless he has a Fatal
Push. He took
Push.
the safe route.
Decides, you know what, we're not going to do this. And
There
Jack
is a
says,
second-
here's my second
There you
Shoulder.
go.
Good job.
Very, very good play there. We did not have to risk it there. He did the great play. Because now he has a couple more turns.
Well, one more turn to be exact. Maybe
Yeah.
2.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Now it's back to an Act 1. He could theoretically swing, exile 2 things, get an extra turn, but is it worth it? Because he just...
I mean, once he swings, like, he loses the Glutton, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But obviously he still has the Hive just to chump block Shouldered for one more turn.
For sure.
Very interesting spot. Definitely a difficult spot for Edgar right now, but we will see if he manages to
Going to
go out.
combat.
Decides, yeah, I'm going to swing with my Glutton.
Exile Shieldred and another...
Aetherborn, I imagine, yeah. So Edgar goes to 4 and Jack goes to 34. I think
Now,
it's
can
just
Shieldred
taking
just
them.
eat the Glutton there, or they got to trade?
I think easily, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And Jack says, yeah, I'll just take 4. That's fine. I think they're missing the life change there as well. There it is. Perfect.
There you go. But now... Oh, no, he does have the land, so we don't have to worry about the blocker for right now.
Yep. I think, like, here the big thing is as soon as if Jack draws some form of removal spell for the Hive, then Edgar's probably in trouble.
Yep.
I think in hand, was that another Shieldred?
It may have been another Shieldred.
So many Shieldreds this game. And Jack does show,
That
hey,
might be
here's
it.
my removal spell for your blocker.
That might be it.
Edgar thinking for a second. And Edgar going, yeah, that's
it.
game.
Good game.
There we go. We see Mono Black Midrange run away with the game after casting many Shouldreds and seeing many Aetherborns.
Yeah.
And even better, more Invoke Despairs. This is why I think this deck will only get better.
For sure.
Great showing, though, at the same time from Edgar. We saw him, how well he played that game, too, getting those Fables out, those pitches, making some really, really great decisions, and the card advantage that Red really offers this archetype in this shell.